Whether you're a parent navigating myofunctional disorders or simply curious about optimizing your family's overall health, the Myohacker podcast is your guide. Hi, I'm Karindy, a speech-language pathologist, myofunctional therapist, and a mom on a mission to bring holistic health to you and your family. Together, we'll explore whole-body connections and integrative solutions. Please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review to help other families discover this important information. Visit myohackerslp.com for free resources and guides. Quick disclaimer: the content shared in this podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed by the host and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the podcast or its affiliates. This podcast does not provide medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult a professional regarding your circumstances. By listening, you agree that the host and podcast are not responsible for any actions you may take based on the information provided. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome, everyone, to the Myohacker podcast. With us today is a good friend, Megan Robertson. She is a delight, and if you are on social media, if you're on specifically Instagram, you have probably seen her and her reels. She is with ClearPath Speech Therapy out of Minnesota, and her reels are so much fun. So last year, she and I got to chat about, we were chatting about some things professionally, and as we were talking, I was like, you have a gift at storytelling, at information sharing, at educating families and providers alike with your content. And I was like, are you mentoring people in this yet? And at that time, she was not, but spoiler alert, she is now. So we will get to that at the second half of this podcast. But the first half, we're going to talk a little bit about the programs that she has currently for families and how exciting they are. I love the needs that she is meeting for people where they are at. So Megan, welcome. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and this program that you have for families.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. And I am in Minnesota. Grew up here, got into speech therapy early in high school. I knew I wanted to be a speech therapist. After school, I got into skilled nursing. So I actually worked in a skilled nursing facility, a lot of dysphagia, swallowing disorders, aphasia, expressive language. And then I just wasn't fulfilled. I dabbled in a rehab director position for a while. And I was like, this can't be it for me. And then I went into in-home, and that was a little bit more flexible for my family. Still wasn't feeling fulfilled. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to open up my own practice and transition to working with kids. And I did some outpatient peds stuff too. But I was like, I really feel good about starting my own thing. And then that's when I got into myofunctional therapy. I became obsessed with everything about mouth breathing, initially telling all of my friends, annoying them, or just anybody who would listen.
So you started your own practice.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the patients you see now and specifically what you love helping families with.
Okay. So since I have pediatric experience and adult, I do take on everybody, even the babies. So infancy to adulthood. And I would say about 75% is myofunctional therapy. But I do a lot of pediatric feeding and myo. And that's kind of what has led me into my coaching programs. But I just am obsessed with this world, and I get to meet really cool people like you and talking about all the good stuff.
So tell everyone about this coaching program that you have, because it is really, like I said, meeting a need where people are at. Tell people what it is, some tips from it, and also share what it is not.
Yes. So it's a 90-day coaching program for parents that have they have some idea of what the mouth breathing issues can lead to. And they want to fix it in their baby because maybe they've tried to just simply push up under the chin, try to get the tongue to the palate. If you have some background in this space, it's like there is a little bit more to it. And that's why I developed this coaching program. I actually got the idea, like, just people being in my DMs and they're like, oh, my kid is 2 years old and they're a mouth breather. Like, what can I do? And since I have this like specialized kind of niche with the feeding and the myo, um, because we kind of all know now that myofunctional therapy is typically they need to be cognitively 4 years or older to do some of those more complex exercises and kind of understand the why behind it. But when we're talking about like the younger kids, there's a lot of oral motor exercises and just like environmental things to eliminate the nasal congestion and inflammation, and what can we do before they turn 4, because a lot of parents were like, I what am I supposed to do, just have my kid like mouth breathe until they're 4, until they're ready to have myofunctional therapy? There are a lot of things we can do now, and the coaching program, it's a lot of education. So that's why I have 6 modules for parents to watch on their own time. And then we have 5 virtual coaching calls. And we kind of come up with like an individualized plan together. And maybe we do have to involve another provider, like for body work. So I take those steps with you. I help to find the right providers. I'll make phone calls for you. And that's the beauty of like a program. Like, I don't have to, oh, I'll get back to you in next week, or like, let's debrief on our next visit. Like, if you have a question, I can send an email for you. If you have like specific needs that you're like, I can't wait till I see Megan next week. Like, I'm here for you, like day by day, because it is a whole process. It's a whole like thing that we need to tackle.
This is going to get so huge. I'm so excited for you. Okay, so what is it not? You heard me kind of tee that up
Yeah.
because I know people are going to be like, "Oh, great. So it is myofunctional therapy." Might be good to clarify how it's coaching versus specifically myofunctional therapy or feeding therapy, oral motor therapy. Maybe clarify that.
Okay, so what the coaching program is not, it's not direct, like individual therapy. I'm providing you a coaching program because I have this specialized skill. And I've heard of so many moms that come to me, even just in Minnesota, that like they've been steered the wrong way. Maybe they've done feeding therapy and it's not what they expected, or they've tried to get feeding therapy to address the mouth breathing, and this provider has no idea. They've never even heard of myofunctional therapy. So I'm trying to fill that void of the knowledge that I have. I'm trying to steer you in the right direction, getting different providers. Let's say we need somebody for body work. What if we need somebody that can actually do an oral tie assessment in person? Because I'm not going to do it over a coaching call, obviously, because we're focusing on the coaching and putting you where you need to be without wasting a bunch of time. And so as people are in my program, I will make those phone calls for you. I will talk to another speech therapist over the phone and just talk about like, this is what I'm expecting out of this visit. Even one of my modules, like I show a video of what an oral tie assessment should look like. And not only just
Cool. That's
like
great.
the structural part and like finding all these ties, it's like, then we're focusing on function. What functional symptoms are we seeing is like related to the feeding? Is the oral rest posture, is the tongue always low? All that kind of stuff.
Okay, so you have that. I know you also have a freebie. You want to tell
Mhm.
people about that real quick?
Yes. So if you have like, if you, my person that I'm thinking about is myself when I was a new mom. I had like no idea. Nobody told me about tongue tie, like none of that.
Hang on. Did you guys talk about it at all in grad school?
Not at all. Not a lick. Nope. Nope. I'm like,
Just
cool.
saying, guys. So if you're like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not a speech therapist, just so you know, most speech therapists do not have education in oral ties, tethered oral tissues either. It's maybe mentioned as like one slide in a presentation. I'm hoping that this is changing. So if you are a part of like university staff and you're like, that's not the curriculum, please correct me. I would love to have you on the podcast to discuss how education is
Please.
changing for SLPs. But Asha, this is at you. We would love to hear more just education about oral motor exercises, that it is not that terrible, terrible study that was done in like, was it the 80s where they had people like just blowing air or something? Guys, that's not it. Okay. I'll get
Yes.
off my high horse.
No, I
Now
love
tell
it.
a little bit. You said it's like, it's basically for you. You were a young mom. No one had told you about tethered oral tissues. There you are, and you're having these difficulties. Talk about what solution the freebie offers.
So the freebie is like the mom that is like kind of a beginner, but they want to know more. Like maybe they just had a baby, they have a toddler that's already showing signs of like oral dysfunction, and they're like, maybe I can do something with my baby now, so I'm not dealing with this when they're a toddler. And the freebie just goes through like the signs to look for, like what you can do to prevent nasal congestion and inflammation, because that's a huge piece of it. And then it touches a little bit on tongue and lip and cheek ties. But it's truly like finding the right provider, because we think as speech therapists, they should know all of this stuff, but we've had to go through all of this extensive training, hours long, and then utilize it in our own practice. And it's a lot, but I'm willing to do
And
it.
just a note to that, I'll have, and I'm sure you get this too, like people reach out in your DMs and they're like, why is it other SLPs don't care about this? Why do they not know? They do care. It's just very expensive to get trained in this. And then it takes a lot of time, like extra time. You're going to these tongue tie releases to observe them. You're learning a lot. And then you probably have to make a lot of mistakes before you start getting clearer. And hopefully we're not making mistakes, but it takes some time to get experience under your belt before you're really seasoned at providing myofunctional therapy and guidance in regards to tethered oral tissues and these concerns.
1000%. And like research is changing all the time. And it's just like fascinating. Like I have my whole little Airway support, or like Airway group. We have a study club in Minnesota. It's just amazing. And all this new research, they're like, oh, did you see this? I'm like, no, I didn't, but thank you. Cause this is a whole nother like protocol that I need to, and it just changes like month by month. And it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So now, speaking of that, we've kind of transitioned into talking about providers. I want you to put a fire under people here about how providers can be really reaching more people, sharing their experience, sharing their individuality in the social media atmosphere. Because this, like I said, you're a spark, you are a light that is helping so many people. And I just see so many people that are hiding themselves. And the thing is, we need people to show up. Like, I can say something in one way, but it doesn't resonate. But if maybe someone else said it differently, it would. Share where you see people are holding themselves back, and really, what are a couple of tips that people can try, and give some guidance in regards to getting on Instagram as healthcare workers, as speech pathologists, myofunctional therapists.
Yes, of course. It's tricky. It's definitely it's work. So like showing up, I kind of got into it on accident. I was trying to like really build my
How do
private
you get into
practice.
wait, yeah,
I
how
don't
do you
know.
get into it on accident? Oh, the camera's on.
um I don't, that was never my intention, I guess. But then I started doing some research, and I have to give credit to my friend. She lives in Minnesota. Her name is Sydney, and she has her own podcast, and she like has a good following on social media, and she's like,
What's her podcast? Let's give her a shout
"Oh,
out.
it's called Well Said Sid.
SID?
SYD. Yeah, it's like a
SYD.
whole
Okay. Well
wellness,
said, Sid.
like a wellness, like fun, she's a little bit younger than me, but like still kind of, trendy stuff. And yeah, she's really great. And she
Excellent.
was like, you need to post every day. I was like, oh man, I'm only posting like maybe once or twice a week. how am I going to do this? And I just did it. And then it just really gives you more of a, because you never know what video is going to hit and kind of take off. You really never know. You could do everything right. You could take hours just to like think of a concept, edit it, post. Like you just truly never know. But it's obviously going to increase your likelihood of getting a viral video if you do it every day.
Do you have any viral videos? I bet you do.
I have one that like got 1 million, but I never like when I post, it's like I don't have the intention that it's gonna get there. I'm just like, if I can get I started doing it for leads like in Minnesota, and I would do hashtag, Minnesota, because I've heard like if you do hashtags don't really matter anymore. But at the time, I was like, I need my people because this is it's free. It is free, free, free. Like a free platform that you can use. There's over 3 billion people on Instagram. So
Jeez.
Instagram is definitely my go-to. For social media, I have like barely anything on Facebook. TikTok, I have like 8,000 followers, but I'm not like really, because TikTok is a whole new thing too. So I'm like, my big focus is on Instagram. And it's just
Okay,
given,
so listen,
yeah,
if the question is about Instagram, she's your go-to. Just
yes,
clarify.
yes, yes, absolutely. Like Instagram, I mean, there's just a lot more people on there and you can easily repost like on Facebook. So like if you want to get people on, there's like one button you can click and it'll just do it right to Facebook. But for TikTok, it's like you have to save your video and then put it on, like repost it on TikTok, get the caption, all that stuff. But yeah, it's work.
Okay, so before we got on, guys, I was like, oh man, I already need to lean into this challenge. So do this with me. If you're an SLP, a myofunctional therapist, PTOT, somebody in this space, the challenge that Megan has laid forth is we've got to get on every day. Is it for a certain amount of time? I'm already tired. I haven't even done anything. It makes me like, oh no. So is it like every day for 30 days, 60 days, a year? Or is it just we build the muscle and we just go and don't question?
You just go and don't question and like be yourself. Don't post a video based on like how somebody else did it just because their post went viral and you're trying to repurpose it. It is a good strategy, but still, and use AI. Using AI is key. Like you're wasting
How
so
do we
much
use
time if
AI?
how do you use AI? ChatGPT or Claude. Prompt. If you don't have these platforms, you need to train them. So tell them all about your business, what you're trying to achieve on Instagram. Like, are you you just want followers, you just want engagement, you want leads. Maybe you have some online programs like you're just trying to like grab at different pieces that social media can give you. Where was I going with this? Be yourself.
So
Yes.
basically, I was like, okay, so what do? We get on every day, be yourself. That was like I had told you one thing, years ago, I started with Instagram because I was presenting at this conference and we didn't have anyone that had signed up yet. And I was like, dang it, it's in like 3 months. I need to get on and start talking about this. And so I literally made my Instagram at that time to start sharing information about it. And I had like 3 videos or pictures, whatever, where I had makeup on. And then very quickly I was like, shoot, I'm never going to post if I have to always have makeup on. So I decided at that point that I was like, I want people that meet me in the grocery store to not be like, who is this? Is this I wanted it to be very clear. Like, no, that's me. Sometimes I have
Yeah.
makeup. Most of the time I don't. And this is me. Life is a little messy, but here you go. So I made
Hmm.
kind of that commitment myself so that I wouldn't burn out and be fake. Like I just don't, it's not going to work if I have to do that. So I think in a way it works. Like it's repelling to many people, but the right people for the most part are like, okay, this is a real person.
Yeah, exactly. And there's like so many opportunities that you can get just from, that's how I met you and other really prominent people like in the myo world and like the feeding world. And like, I'm so grateful for everybody who's on Instagram. So it's like, get in people's DMs. Like, if you want to talk to them, don't just
Right.
follow them and look at
DMs,
all their stuff.
we
Just
should
like
tell
get in their
people
DMs.
direct messages.
Yes. Yes. And
DMs are direct messages, just
well,
so
yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
know.
Yes. Okay. Yep. Of course. Yep. But going back to AI is just like you train the bot to know you. So sometimes like I'll have a conversation and I'll just say, "Oh, I like all of this. This is kind of what's your personality? Are you sarcastic? Are you only want to be professional on Instagram?" Which, that's you. Like you want to keep it completely profesh on Instagram. Totally fine. But I like to keep it a little more like light because all this myo stuff, it's life-changing and it can be it's very eye-opening what myofunctional therapy can impact, like especially the sleep. I'm going through it myself. Did I tell you?
So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
Yeah. So I had braces total of 4 years throughout middle school and high school. And then in college, of course, I didn't wear my retainers. Like, no, tell me who has worn their retainers. You probably did, but I did not.
No, my dental work was done in Singapore. I'll just say
Oh,
it's its own story. So I had a very different
I can't wait to
experience.
hear.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So you didn't wear your retainer.
Yes. Yes. So that's what, your orthodontist is going to blame you when it's really like it's your stupid tongue. But I then I had a like orthodontic relapse. I started getting a gap tooth from my tongue thrusting and I attributed it to pregnancy because it started around pregnancy. I'm like, and then when I got into myo, like, no, it was my tongue. Like, I can't. Why do we blame
Well,
stuff on
can we say?
pregnancy?
Well, it probably was a little bit of both.
Really?
From yeah. So I'll see that often, and we can see that with perimenopause when we have all of a sudden an influx of hormonal shifting, especially if it's that relaxin is starting to kick up. It's just easier to move things in the body, which makes sense. We need to be able to make space in the pelvic floor and shift. Things are shifting to make space for another human being, and it has an effect on connective tissue. It also means you're likely to really retain a little bit more water in tissues. That's where, especially as we get further along in pregnancy, that's where we start to see that sleep apnea kick up. Air is harder to get access to because suddenly you have this human being that is squishing your diaphragm and you can't breathe quite as easy. It makes sense that your tongue is like, we got to get out of the way. We got to get out of the way now. And you have a little bit more force. The hormones have shifted just enough that teeth can change and alter a bit. So yes, it was your tongue, but I think it was kind of this perfect storm of things that coalesced. And I wasn't there. I can't truly speak to it, but I see it in patients often. They're like, why did this happen?
I just love it. This is why I love your podcast. Like, and I'm learning while I'm on your podcast.
As we should always be learning, I think, in every
Of course.
conversation.
Yeah.
So,
Love
okay,
it.
so how can people, let's say they're like, I want to be in the 90-day coaching program for parents, or they're like, my social media, I need this. I need the help. I do too, guys. We're all going to be in this together. I need the social media help. Like, what do they do? How do they connect with you?
So if you go to my Instagram, which is at Clear Path Speech Therapy, I have everything in my bio, like my link tree. So I prefer people to schedule a discovery call because we need to nail down why are you seeking this? What's your level of commitment? Because it's work. And I've been overusing that word. I'm sorry, but I want to make sure I'm a right fit for you for the 90-day program. And then like if we're getting into the Instagram coaching, Instagram is a 8-week program that we meet once a week virtually. And we kind of just nail down like, I'm going to educate you on all the things social media and what like I've done to get 6,000, upwards of 8,000 followers a month. And I had just started getting into it like maybe last April. I had an Instagram and I was like, well, I'm not really, sometimes we're like, oh yeah, if we just post once a week, we're going to get all these followers eventually. But it's not the case. Like there's different hooks that you need to learn. You have to capture people's attention, the viewers, in 3 seconds. Otherwise, they're going to keep scrolling. And there's just like a science behind the piece of the content, not putting out the same type of content every day. It's like we're switching up between like educational and entertaining. So there's a lot of things that we talk about throughout those 8 weeks. And certainly we can go on longer if you would like. But during those 8 weeks, you get a lot of education that you can just like continue to use.
So good, guys. And I think it's fair to say work. It is work to do myofunctional therapy. Anybody that has done myofunctional therapy will be like, amen. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Anybody that has, opened the algorithm and is like, I need to get on social media. It is work. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Again, here we are. So I think the word work works. All right. So it has been a joy to have you here, Megan, with, again, at ClearPath Speech Therapy on Instagram. And I recommend you guys go check it out. She has really great information, really great reels that, you can find helpful tips, all of that. I am sure we're going to have you back on. I bet in a year, let's do that. Okay. We're going to say this in 1 year, we're going to have you back on and we're going to talk about how many lives you have changed with these programs. And just, I think with the providers that you have helped shine their own light. So I'm excited. And 30 days, guys, I'm gonna get on there and I'm gonna be every day posting on Instagram. Here we go. It's gonna be fun.
Here we go.
Thank you so much. And everyone, thank you as always for listening to the Myohacker podcast. Please like, share, follow. It really helps for us to get this information out to other families.
I hope you have enjoyed this episode of the Myohacker podcast. Remember, small changes can make big impacts on our overall health and well-being. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. This way, more families will learn about this important information and we can make a bigger impact. Head on over to myohackerslp.com for in-depth resources and guides. You can also join me on Instagram at myohackerslp for bonus content and demos. And if you have questions or topic suggestions for future episodes, send me a message. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, let's biohack myofunctional health as myohackers who change the world through intentional action and connection and breathing. Quick disclaimer reminder, the content shared in this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only.